Hello, everyone, and welcome to EKU Football's Week 10 press conference. Joined as always by head football coach Walt Wells. And today we're joined by two players in wide receiver Daquan Stanley. And then we are also joined by Brad Gurley, Jr. of the defensive line. We're going to start with coach's opening statements about last week's game, this upcoming game, and then we'll open the floor to questions from the media. Coach, take it away.
Yeah, just obviously not happy with the outcome of last week. Sorry about this. Something popped up in the middle of that. Not happy about the outcome. I thought we played a very well in the first half. I thought both teams did a great job and competed hard, and then Tarleton came out in the second half and took control of the game and ended up coming away with the win. So kudos to Tarleton and their efforts. We've got to find a way to be better in the second half of our football games. That's where we're losing our football games, and come out of halftime and be ready to go. You know, it's disappointing, but we have to move on and get ready for a really good Central Arkansas team that's improving each and every week. Going down to their place this week is always a challenge. And so, but we're excited about the opportunity, be excited to get back on the practice field today and start working to get better. With that, I'll open it up for any questions.
All right, we'll go to Michael Watkins and then over to Dick Gabriel.
Coach, the halftime adjustments. Talk about what you saw from Tarleton that they were able to do. I know I think you talked about the defensive game plans, the same you all had last year against them as far as defending their wide receivers, but they seemed to make an adjustment there in the second half. Can you talk about that and what you saw from them?
Well, I think more than anything, what happened in the second half was they went to their slant game in that first drive. Um, After that, we adjusted our leverage and kind of took those away. And then, they hit some of the balls the 50-50 balls that they throw. And in the first half, they didn't hit them. Or we defended them well too. And so I think as you're playing a team like that, you have to understand there's going to be some give and take in the yardage. But the points is where you're trying to keep it away. Now, our second half possessions, did not help us. Our kickoff coverage unit didn't help us on the opening kickoff where they got the ball at the 40 or 42 right in there. It was a negative 40-42, but that's where we scored from when we got the ball, or when we scored. So the closer you get, the greater opportunity it is for the offense. And then, the next two drives, especially the third one with the fumble, just gave it to them right there. And I think you see, your defense is trying to fight, trying to do things, but it just makes it difficult at times. And so, were there major adjustments made by either team? I'm not going to sit there and say yes or no to that. I think sometimes halftime adjustments are a little overrated. I think our guys do a great job if there is an opportunity to do that. But yeah, we didn't come out and play with the energy that we had to play with to win. We didn't give them an opportunity. They came out and took advantage of the first drive of the second half, and then we didn't respond. And and that's what you have to do. You have to respond.
On that third drive in the first half, the offense seemed to flow much better than I think the first two drives you go three and out. Second drive, you got the run game going. Miles was making plays both with his leg and then with his arm. So what was the difference in that drive as compared to the other ones there in the first half and even what you saw from Miles in the second half?
Well, we didn't have any MAs and we didn't have any penalties. And when you have those things and your guys are playing at a high level and understanding what to do and they're doing it well, I think that's something that we pointed to in our meetings and said, listen, here's how it's supposed to look, consistently. And they did. I forget how many plays were in that drive. I think 6 or 7 were in that drive. And here's good play. Here's 2-yard games. Here's 10-yard games. Here's back and forth. And we have to consistently play better. As we transitioned into the second quarter in that, and when we came down inside the goal line, we had 3 shots and didn't get it, and that's because we had some MAs, and so it could have finished that way, but they got the penalty, roughing the passer, which was, in my opinion, was a call. And so then the very next play, we block everybody the way we're supposed to. And guess what? We walk into the end zone. So again, it comes back to we have to continue to evaluate how we're coaching these guys and what is getting through to them. And then they have to do a great job of continuing to understand that you can't just do it one series. You got to do it consistently over time. And that's one of our core values, consistency and performance with a championship mindset. We have to be more consistent at what we do and how we do it. And one guy, on offense, when one guy screws up, it just blows the whole thing up. Defensively, you can go in the wrong gap, and 9 times out of 10, you end up making the tackle. So, it is what it is, and we have to be better than that. But I agree with you. That was a really good drive.
All right, last two. The third quarter, you make the switch to Montgomery. Talk about him and just wanting to get him on the field, see what he could do out there as a freshman.
Well, I want to make sure everybody understands that wasn't a switch. That was something that we had planned, and we wanted to try. We thought it might open up our run game a little bit more, and so that's what we were trying to do. I had plans to put him in the first half, and there was a couple of situations where we had planned, and I just didn't think it was fair for him, and so I wanted to make sure Miles knew about it, and Miles is our quarterback, and so. When then he had the 3 plays, and of course, the first play could have been better, and then the second, then you start the second play, we get the personal foul, so he's down 2nd and 21. I mean, that's hard to do. I mean, when you're, and whether that was a great call or not, I can't, we can't go through all that. We got the call, and so it's 2nd and 21. That's hard to put a first time guy, your second play in your career, you're 2nd and 21. And then third down, our tight end doesn't do a great job on the protection piece there. And we end up getting the sack. And so it just rolled. And then we bring him. I was like, well, let's just give him another shot, and because that wasn't what we wanted. And then the very first play, he fumbles. And so, great learning experience for Cam. Cam has got the world of potential. We really think he's going to be a great player here at EKU. We wanted to get him in there and see if he could change the numbers a little bit. Didn't work out the way we wanted it to. Not all on Cam at all. And so excited about his future here.
All right, last one for me. Central Arkansas seems to be like the team. We kind of came in together. We had the game against them during the pandemic there. Talk about this matchup, and it's kind of blossomed into a little bit of a rivalry between you two.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a common theme with us. Austin Peay was a rival. Tarleton's a rival. UCA's a rival. Abilene's going to start becoming one more and more. So I think everybody, it's like I tell our players, the tradition and the history here has built a legacy that we have to defend every time we walk out on the field. And so they're going to be fired up. I remember when they beat us down there 2 years ago, and it was a controversial deal and the whole 9 yards. I remember quotes being made about how they finally got the Eastern Kentucky monkey off their back, and things like that. And, it's been a great competition. The first year in the pandemic, we played twice. We beat them here. They beat us there. And then, it's gone on ever since then. And so, it's been fun. I really respect their head coach, Nathan, and he does a great job down there. And they've got another talented football team. Their tailback is shown, both size and speed, big offensive line. They're settled in on their quarterback, I think, now. And so, we played against him a little bit last year before he went out. And so, always got good looking receivers. And then defensively, they made a change from last year's defensive coordinator. I think he retired. And so, doing some things a little differently, but it was the guy that was here during the speaking of the 2020 season, he was there during that. So, we're going to have to get in there and handle the travel, handle everything that we have to handle, which shouldn't be hard to handle. We're flying down and everything's great. And so, we just got to get in there. We got to fight for 60 minutes. And I'm really excited to see how this team comes out and fights for 60 minutes. We've had a rough couple of weeks here, and we've got to get back on track.
Hey, Gabriel.
Yeah, Coach, you guys got off to a rocky start this year and you responded well. That said, how surprised were you that you didn't have more of the energy you needed in the second half against Tarleton?
Yeah, I mean that was disappointing, and that starts with me, Dick. I've got to do a better job of what we do at halftime, and we've been reevaluating it all week. Sometimes it is what it is, and you don't need to change a whole lot. But sometimes you need to look and see how are we doing things. What are we doing? Are we giving them too much information now that we got iPads and we got the ability to watch the first half, at halftime and things like that? Are we maybe giving them too much to think about and not just letting them play? There's a whole lot that goes into play there. It's disappointing because you got to come out and you got to feed off the crowd. You got to feed off. I mean, you're 10-7. You're behind 10-7, but you're 10-7 at halftime with the number 3 team, now number 2 team in the nation. And it's like I told them, Dick, in our meeting the other day, hey, North Dakota State and South Dakota State played 1 and 2, and it was 31-7 at half. We're playing the number 3 team in the nation, and it's 10-7 at half. We're right there. We have to learn to grow up and finish and do the things that we have to do, and we've got to do that as coaches, and we got to do that as players.
One more from me. We all know you go back with this program. You go back to the Coach Kid era, and you kind of touched on this. The EKU brand is still so viable and vital at the FCS level. Tell me a little bit about running into that, even now in these newer rivalries. EKU, the brand still carries, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, the tradition never fades. It never runs. It's part of your history. It's who you are. Now you got to create your own history, and I think we've done a little bit of that ourselves. With the last 4 years that we've been eligible for a playoffs, we've been in them 2 years, and so we've done some things to add to that history and to continue to put that target on your back. But the when they come in here and they see the banners with all the conference championships, with the national championships, with all the playoff appearances, it makes it makes people understand, and of course they see it in the media guides and everything. I'm sure their coaches put it out there. I mean, Tarleton's a team we've never lost to. And so we lost to them. So I mean, there was a lot of motivation for them, and you have to get up each and every week and be ready to defend the EKU on your chest and defend what's been done here, not only in the past, but what you've done. And sometimes that's hard for people to understand in the transactional world that we're in, because we lost 30 something seniors last year, and then now we've got a bunch of new guys in here, and they're learning what this is, and sometimes they learn on the run. We got to do a better job of putting them in position to help them and create that understanding that each and every week you're going to get everybody's best shot, especially in the FCS.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Not seeing any other questions for Coach. Coach, as always, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, guys.
All right. We'll now welcome in Brad Gurley. All right, Brad, you got us?
Yep.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Michael Watkins, if you want to start us off.
Brad, the defense seemed to do a good job of controlling a high potent Tarleton State offense. So talk about that, the game plan that you all were able to go out there and execute, especially in that first half where you kept that offense just to 10 points.
We were just communicating, flying around. Our energy was high, and we were we were getting things done. Staying in our gaps, playing as a unit, and slowing them down as much as possible.
All right, last one. When you talk about the Central Arkansas team, knowing that you guys have lost 2 in a row now, what is the importance about going back on the road, getting a victory, and trying to right the ship as you all close out the season down the stretch?
We just got to be a 60-minute team because we only been playing one half of football. For almost the entire year. We just have to be better communicating and keeping our energy up throughout the whole game, because we can't just do it in the first half, because in the playoffs, if we do it in the first half, we're going to get embarrassed more than what we did this past weekend. So we got to do better with communicating the energy.
All right, Day Gabriel.
Yeah, Brad, in an odd way, is it perhaps a good thing you're going on the road because I know when teams go on the road, you have that added element of us against the world. You got to pull together, which is something you really need to do now after back-to-back losses. How do you see that?
We just like I said before, we just got to stay together, because we can't just get divided as a team. Yeah, we're going on the road, we're on cheerleaders. Yes, it's EKU against everybody, but we can't worry about the outside noise. We can't worry about the refs. We got to play our games as EKU Colonels.
Is there one thing in particular, and I know it's early in the week, but that concerns you about your opponent coming up?
We can't jump out our gaps. We got to stay in our gaps. We got to communicate as a defense because we get out our gaps. They're going to go right up our defense. So we got to communicate, stay in our gaps, play room doing defense. We'll be fine.
Thanks.
All right, Brad, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, man.
For sure, my man.
All right, now welcome in Daquan Stanley. And Michael, if you want to start us off.
Daquan, when you look at the offense this year, we know it's been kind of a roller coaster ride, ups and downs. Talk about where the confidence level is right now offensively, and what you all need to do to be able to maybe kind of get that going against Central Arkansas.
To be honest, I feel like the confidence piece is still there. Obviously things is not going as our way, but we still got faith in Miles and faith in O-line that they'll get everything situated. Looking into this game for Central Arc, I think we need to for this week in practice just connect more and just bond with each other more because it seems like it's still disconnect. So once we get that flowing, it should be hitting.
When you look at Central Arkansas, they're a team that's kind of right around where you all are. They've had kind of an up and down season as well. So the importance of this game, talk about it and what you all need to do on both sides of the football. And as Brad said, play 60 minutes of football. How can you do that? What needs to happen to get the team to buy into that mentality?
Oh, truth be told, we all just need to come together and play like Brad and Coach Wells said earlier. We need to play 60-minute ball instead of one half, 1 30-minute half. Another thing is too, we just the main thing is like we got to play complementary football. I feel like with one like the defense, if they playing good, the offense not playing good. If the offense playing good, defense not playing good, or special teams, it's special team they doing well. It's like we just haven't put a complete what we did with Austin P game, but others since that we haven't put a complete complementary game. So it's like if we get that going, it should hit.
All right, Dick Gabriel.
That same question I put to Brad. Tell me a little bit about going on the road. This is a tough situation. You got to snap this 2 game skid, but on the road, all for one, one for all. You got nobody but each other. Does that
Right.
help in kind of an odd way?
Yeah, it does. I know like 2 years ago when I first got here, we went on the road. We lost in that devastating last place situation. But it does bind you together because we don't got no crowd. We our own crowd. So like we there for each other and we only got each other. So that definitely played a huge part in, that situation.
You feel like this team is still pulling together in the right direction?
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Like, by this time you'll basically have like, because everybody knows like the chances of us going playoffs kind of slim. You'll have basically that division in the team, but I haven't seen that yet, and I probably will not see that because of me being a senior or whatnot. I'm not going to let that happen.
Thanks.
Probably.
All right. Daquan, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Dick, Michael, thank you for joining us today on the EKU football press conference. We will see you all next week.
See you later.